Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. So we were still doing the story of Balaam bin Ba'ura briefly. He was a person from the Bani Israel and he resided close to Baytul Maqdis and he was a pious person and his du'as were readily accepted and Allah Ta'ala had blessed him with knowledge atainahu min ayatina, but unfortunately he was over enamored by the dunya that he was requested to make dua against Hazrat Musa alayhi salam by the Jabbarin. Initially he refused, but after they captured him with gifts, they plied him with gifts, then he capitulated and he forfeited his principle. So there's a big lesson for us there that look, we under all circumstances, Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with knowledge, Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with Quran, Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with the Hadith. Under no circumstances should we sacrifice what we've learned from the Quran, what we've learned from the Hadith, etc., for the things of the dunya. So, wakana mujabat da'wati. He was a person whose asked would be readily accepted. يقدمونه في الشدائد. They would come to him in the time of difficulty. بعثه نبي الله موسى عليه السلام إلى ملك مدين. That Nabiullah Musa alayhi salam sent him to the king of Madian. يدعوه إلى الله تعالى, inviting him towards Allah Ta'ala. But فأقطعه, he cut him off. وأعطاه, he plied him with gifts, right? And the moment he accepted the gift, he was now compromised. He was now captured, right? فَتَبِعَ دِينَهُ. So instead of him inviting the king to the deen of Musa alayhi salam, which is pure tawheed and risalat, what happened? He فَتَبِعَ دِينَهُ. He followed the deen of what? Of the king. وَتَرَكَ دِينَ مُوسَى عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. And he left out, because the deen of Musa alayhi salam was the correct deen. All the deen, from the time of Adam alayhi salam, right? The time of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The prophets all brought one deen. They never bring different deens. They brought one deen. And what was the deen? The deen is that Allah Ta'ala is one. That you mustn't make shirk. So even though uh, different prophets came, right? But and we say this is the deen of Musa, or this is the deen of Isa, or this is the deen of Nuh alayhi salam, whatever. But remember, it's all one deen. It wasn't different adyan. They all came with the same message that Allah Ta'ala is one. لِنُخْرِجَ الْعِبَادِ مِنْ إِبَادَةِ الْعِبَادِ إِلَى إِبَادَةِ رَبِّ الْعِبَادِ. Just see if everything is right. I see the one, those two people, one person shot off. Just see there. Everything is right. Uh, okay, everything is right. To carry on. Okay, so when we say, the main thing I want to say, when we say deen of Musa alayhi salam, or we say, yeah, follow the deen of Isa alayhi salam, it didn't mean that that is any different from our deen. All the adyan were the same. They all came with the same message. It is one Allah Ta'ala, etc. Right? Carry on from there, right? So instead, he's supposed to follow the deen of Musa alayhi salam, but what he done is he followed the deen of the king, which was probably shirk, whatever. But tabi adina wa taraka dina Musa alayhi salam. Carry on. Right. So who is this person exactly? We discussed earlier from Tafseer Ma'arif al-Quran, and here we're saying also we're quoting from Sufyan ibn Uyayna says that Ibn Abbas says that the person that is being spoken about in this verse is Bal'am bin Ba'ura. Carry on. Yeah. So yeah, Saqif, also a great scholar, he says, Wa Umayyah ibn Abi Saltin. That this doesn't refer to Balam Ba'ura, but rather this was a person in the time of Nabi Sallallahu, and his name was Umayyah ibn Abi Salt. His name was Umayyah ibn Abi Salt. He's a person that the verse is speaking about, that he was an intelligent person. Allah Ta'ala blessed him with intelligence, but unfortunately, he did not use it correctly. Carry on. Yeah. So, وقال Abdullah ibn Amr, Abdullah ibn Amr says his opinion with regards to this verse, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَا وَآيَاتِنَا, and recite to them the information, the one that we gave, right? The mention of the one whom we gave our verses. What he says? Yeah. So this Sahabi, in addressing the other Sahaba, Ikram, he said, do you know who Allah Ta'ala is speaking about here? وَصَاحِبُكُمْ أُمَيَّةُ بْنُ أَبِي صَلْتٍ. Is this person your own man? Umayyah ibn Abi Salt. This is the person that Allah Ta'ala is speaking about in this verse, right? Yeah. So وَقَدْ رُوِيَ مِنْ غَيْرِ وَجْهٍ anhu. At this, what this Sahabi said, what is the Sahabi's name? Uh, yeah, what's it? Abdullah ibn Amr. It has been narrated several ways from Abdullah ibn Amr that different ways that this verse doesn't refer to Balam bin Ba'ura. It referred to Umayyah ibn Salt, right? But remember, you've done your tafsir. There's something that says in tafsir, there's a principle, like how you get tafsir, usul al-hadith, you get usul al-tafsir, al-ibratu li-umum al-lafz la li-khusus al-mawrid. That one verse, it can be revealed for several instances. You don't say it only referred to this or it referred to that. So the Quran is so unique. It could be referring to the incident of Bal'am bin Ba'ura. It could be referring to the incident of what? Of Umayyah ibn Salt. There's a principle. Al-ibratu li umumi lafz la li khusus al-mawrid. That the lesson is not for that particular incident. The lesson is all encompassing. So even though there's a principle of tafsir, even though in the Quran Allah Ta'ala is speaking about something that happened in the past, but the lesson from there is for everybody, right? So there is saying, وَقَدْ رُوِيَ مِنْ خَيْرِ وَجْهٍ أَنْهُ وَهُوَ صَحِيٌّ إِلَيْهِ. Right, carry on. Yeah. So it could, like I just saying, I tell you, وَكَأَنَّمَا, as though he's saying, إِنَّمَا أَرَادَ, that the Sahabi is saying that Umayyah ibn Abi Salt yushbihuhu, that Umayyah ibn Abi Salt was very much like Balam bin Ba'ura, that Allah Ta'ala blessed him with knowledge, etc., etc. But unfortunately, he was captured. He was captured, and once he was captured, what happened? He was unable to speak the truth. So, very profound lesson in this. That if you want to, as an alim of deen, as a appa, muallima, whatever, you have to remain independent of the pockets of the other people, the rich people. If you are accustomed to a nice, comfortable, cushy life, and you are dependent on the handouts of other people, etc., then you will not be able to speak the truth. You will not be able to speak the haqq like how you are supposed to speak the haqq. And as a result of that, the haqq will be compromised. Look at Balam bin Ba'ura. He initially was on the haqq. He was speaking the haqq, and he said, look, this is the Nabi of Allah Ta'ala, Musa alayhi salam. I can't speak out against him. I can't make dua against him. But once he was captured, then all the morals, all the values went out of the window, right? So he said, from this you learn anybody who faces the same faith like this, that he was on the truth, and then he got captured, he got enamored with the dunya, and as a result of that, like how we say, you sell your soul to the devil, like how many of the politicians today, even if you look at America, UK, all that type of thing, they realize what is happening in Gaza is not correct. I mean, who can have doubt that to starve people, to shoot random people, but why are they not speaking out? Same thing here. They are captured. Fear of the loss of dunya, fear of loss of position, etc. They're saying anybody that is a victim of the same circumstances, this verse will apply to him, right? Yeah, see, فإنه كان قد اتصل علم كثير من علم الشرائع المتقدمة, that he had a great abundant knowledge of the previous chariots, right? ولكن لم ينتفع بعلمه. He did not take true proper benefit from his knowledge. Why he never take true proper benefit? He didn't practice upon it, right? Yeah. So according to this call here, according to this call, it says Umayyah ibn Abi Salt, right? What, right? He as a scholar, right? He had abundant knowledge of the previous ummats. Maybe he had the knowledge of the Torah, he had the knowledge of the Injil, etc., etc., etc. Right? Right? فإنه أدرك, and he even came. He lived in a time when أدرك زمان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Right? وبلغته أعلام وآيات ومعجزاته. Right? أعلام, the information reached him. The signs, because he knew from the previous book that the prophet will come like this, he will come at this time, he will have these signs, etc. All of that, he recognized it. وَمُعْجِزَاتُهُ, we're doing, alhamdulillah, the miracles we're doing in the Mishkat Sharif, we're doing every day. Even that, many of the miracles of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is been mentioned in the previous kutub, like the akhlaq of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioned in the previous kutub. So even the miracles reached him, right? وَمُعْجِزَاتُهُ, right? Yeah. وَظَهَرَتْ لِكُلِّ مَنْ لَهُ بَصِيرَةٌ. Any person who had a little bit, like how, we say in English that even if you'll be able to recognize this, even if you have a half a brain. Even if you have a half a brain, you'll recognize this here, right? So same thing, anybody who had a little of intelligence, you would recognize and say that, and he has no little bit knowledge of the previous scriptures, you would recognize that this is the Prophet of Allah Ta'ala. So وَظَهَرَتْ لِكُلِّ مَنْ لَهُ بَصِيرَةٌ, right? Right. وَمَعَ هَذَا اجْتَمَعَ بِهِ وَلَمْ يَتَّبِعْهُ. Now, despite all this, despite having this knowledge, despite, right, وَمَعَ هَذَا, right, وَمَعَ هَذَا اجْتَمَعَ, what he had, وَلَمْ يَتَّبِعْهُ, he did not follow the haqq, right? Yeah. وَصَارَ إِلَى مُوَالَاةِ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. He rather inclined and he opted for muwala yuwali, taking as friends, taking as allies, right? Who? The mushrikeen, wa munasaratihim, and assisting them against the believers, wa tidahihim, and befriending them, right? Yeah. ورثاء أهل بدر من المشركين بمرثاة بليغة قبح الله. This marthia actually means when somebody passes away. What do you call it in English? They call it what? Yeah, no. Eulogy. What do you call it? Like, when somebody passes away, then you extol this person was like such a good person, and like no, at a non-Muslim funerals, a Christian funerals, I think EULOGY. What do you call it? Eulogy, right? Jazakallah. A eulogy. So eulogy means like you extol the virtue of that person. Like if you pass away, oh, this was such a great person, and he was such a. So yeah, he befriended the mushrikeen, and after Badr, he gave the eulogies of the people of the qatla of the kuffar, whilst they were the enemies of Allah Ta'ala. They're saying, وَرَثَ أَهْلَ بَدْرِ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ بِمَرْثَاتٍ بَلِيغَةٍ. And he gave a very eloquent eulogy for the people of Badr. قَبَّحَهُ اللَّهِ. May Allah Ta'ala destroy him. That he knew what was the truth. He recognized Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the truth. Allah Ta'ala says, see, آتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا. We gave him our signs. And the signs in this context, this means the knowledge. He had knowledge of the previous scriptures. He had the knowledge that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a true prophet. But what he done? فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. He regaled himself. He exonerated himself. He excused himself from that, and he opted for فَأَدْبَعُ الشَّيْطَانِ. Carry on. Right. Some hadith, there's a different explanation now. Some hadith say this verse here, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَا آيَاتِنَا, that that person who uh, we gave him our signs, but he did not believe, it refers to every person. وقد جاء في بعض الأحاديث أنه ممن آمن لسانه, who his heart, sorry, his tongue says I'm a believer. He said, I believe, right? وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ قَلْبُهُ, but his heart does not believe. In other words, he's a munafiq. So it refers to every munafiq, everyone who feigns Islam but is not a true believer, right? Right. So these people that they believe with their tongues, they say, we accept Islam, we select Rasul. فَإِنَّ لَهُ أشعارا ربانية, right? وحكما وفصاحة. They have eloquence, they have the ash'aran, they can say beautiful poetry, etc., etc. But ولكن لم يشرح الله صدره للإسلام. Allah Ta'ala did not open their hearts for Islam. Carry on. Right. So see what they're saying there. They're saying that some people say it means Umayyah ibn Salt. Some people say it um, refer to any person who does not practice upon what he preaches, etc. But doesn't matter. It refers to any person who Allah Ta'ala has blessed him, right? Could be any person who Allah Ta'ala has blessed him, but he did not use his knowledge. But the preferred explanation, as we done earlier, والمشهور في سبب نزول هذه الكلمة إنما رجل من المتقدمين في زمن بني إسرائيل. The most preferred explanation is referred to a person from the previous ummah, and in particular from Balaam bin Ba'ura from the time of Musa alayhi salam. Carry on. Right. That is the most accepted view, right? It was a person, right? Carry on. Yeah. So Ibn Mas'ud, the great scholar, he also was of this opinion, right? Yeah. So he knew the greatest name of Allah Ta'ala. That name, when you take it, then definitely وَكَانَ يَعْلَمُ اسم الله الأكبر, right? وَكَانَ مُجَابَ الدَّعْوَةِ. He was person who definitely his du'as was accepted, right? لا يسأل الله. You don't ask Allah Ta'ala for anything except that Allah Ta'ala would give it to him. So he was blessed in the sense, right? But then obviously he used his blessing in a wrong manner. Right. So Ali ibn Abi Talib says, لما نزل موسى بهم يعني الجبارين ومن معه أتاه. When Musa alayhi salam was in this incident is discussed in detail in the Quran also. When Musa alayhi salam was instructed, he must go and he must fight the Jabbarin, right? So when Musa came to لما نزل موسى بهم يعني الجبارين ومن معه, and whoever was with him, أتاه يعني Balaam, right? Banu Ammihi wa qawmuhu. They came to Musa alayhi salam, right? And what he done? Right. So he said Jabbarin wa man Atao yani Balaam. What means Atao means they came. The Jabbarin came to Balaam in Ma'ura and he said, right, يعني Balaam Banu Ammihi wa qawmuhu wa Banu Ammihi. They were the children of his uncle wa qawmuhu and his people. They said, yeah. So they came. So the Jabbarin came to Musa and said, look here, uh, Balaam, that Musa alayhi salam has come to us. إنه رجل حديد. He's a fiery person. ومعه جنود كثيرة. And he has a huge army with him, right? So Musa alayhi salam, remember I told you there are many similarities between our ummah and the ummah of Musa alayhi salam. Right? Remember I told you that. It's like sometimes, you see the very orthodox of the Jews, the ladies you see, they even wear a hijab and a parda like how we have in our ummah. So, oh yeah, the point main point I want to make is they also had one of the few previous ummahs that had jihad, like how our ummah had jihad. Musa alayhi salam also had jihad. So they were instructed to go make jihad with the Jabbareen. That like how you say, you must come onto Islam, you must come onto Tawheed, etc. But they didn't want to come into Tawheed. They didn't want to come into Islam. What they wanted to do? They wanted to scheme and then you, Balaam bin Ma'ura was a pious person. They wanted to get him to make dua in their favor. So they said, went to him and said, وَإِنَّ إِيَظْهَرْ عَلَيْنَا يُهْلِكْنَا. That, oh Musa, يُظْهِرْ عَلَيْنَا. If Musa and his army are, gain power of us, يُهْلِكْنَا. They will destroy us. Carry on. Right. So we know you, mujabatu da'wat. فَدَعُوا اللَّهَ. Oh Musa, you make dua. أَن يَرُدَّ عَنَّا مُوسَى وَمَن مَّعَهُ. That Allah Ta'ala, He repels Musa from us. And who is with him? And who is with him? Right. So instead of doing the right thing, what was the right thing? The right thing was to accept Musa alayhi salam's message. And that is of Tawheed, Risalat, etc. They were not ready, but they tried to scheme and go to Balaam bin Ba'ura. Right? Carry on. Subhanallah. So initially, look, until he was not captured, until he was not compromised, until he was not in the pocket of anybody, he could speak the truth. Until you're not in the pocket of anybody, until you're not eating the favors of somebody, then you can speak the truth. You're free to speak the truth. So he said, look here, what he said, in the outullah, if I have to make dua to Allah Ta'ala, ayyarudda Musa, that he repelled Musa alayhi salam, wa man ma'ahu, and who is with him, is there what will happen? ذهبت دنياي وآخرتي. Literally translated, my dunya and my akhirat, God knows, my dunya and my akhirat will both be destroyed. My dunya and my akhirat will both be destroyed. Carry on. Right. فَلَمْ يَزَالُوا بِهِ زَالَ يَزَالُوا. They continued. They persisted. Right? Be with him. No, you have to. And according to riwayats, in the kitab, they say, they plied him with gifts. And he was hesitant to accept the gifts. But his wife, she capitulated and said, no, accept the gifts. فَلَمْ يَزَالُوا بِهِ حَتَّى دَعَا عَلَيْهِمْ. Until he prayed against him. فَسَلَخَ اللَّهُ مَا كَانَ عَلَيْهِ. Allah Ta'ala freed him from that what is. In other words, that knowledge, the spirituality, everything he had, Allah Ta'ala took it away from him, right? Right. That is, we say that فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. He regaled himself. He freed himself. He unfettered himself from it. Means what? That he abandoned the dictates of his teachings. His teachings was, this is the Nabi of Allah Ta'ala. This is Musa. This is the Haqq. He's come with the Haqq. He's bringing Tawheed. These people are not supposed to oppose him. These people are supposed to accept his message. That was the truth. But فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. He freed. He absolved himself. He exonerated himself. فَأَدْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. And shaitan got hold of him. Okay, time is up. We'll stop there. Inshallah, we'll continue Monday. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك